So excited to have you all with us tonight. We are also, hello to our live streaming Facebook friends, and a special thanks to our board member, Ensle, who is managing that live stream for us. And now as this is happening, I'm sorry I can't see the folks on Facebook, but right now I can hear we've got folks from Cincinnati, from North Carolina, we've got New York, we've got Maryland, we've got Connecticut, we've got Dallas, we've got Pennsylvania, Dunmore, Pennsylvania, Baltimore, Maryland, Queens, New York, Cary, North Carolina. This is great, you guys. Thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So as quick background, most of you know my dad as Noel Paul Stuckey of the folk trio Peter, Paul, and Mary. And he and I started the nonprofit Music to Life to build activism through music. So we help local artists around the country become catalysts for change in the areas of civil rights, climate advocacy, poverty, and health. And our Activist Musician Accelerator is actually the first incubator of its kind for activist artists, building partnerships between musicians and their communities to create measurable change through music. And I think Randy's going to drop some links there. I just want to take a moment, though, sort of a collective deep breath here, everybody. We really need the work of these artists. And, we've been doing these shows last year and into this year, and each show I like to just take a moment to acknowledge the incredible challenges that our country has faced and really just continues to struggle through this year. Last week I wasn't sure it could get any worse, as if this hasn't been a tough enough time for so many, economically, socially, spiritually. We're now in the midst of a crisis to our democracy. So collective breath. What we want to do tonight is to breathe in some musical hope. So we have developed Brave Troubadours as a series to put you all in touch with social change artists around the country who are helping us and the communities we love so much get back on our feet. So these musicians are not just talented artists, but they're creating powerful programs and they're reaching out in ways so that their music can be a vehicle and a tool for change and for healing. So in tonight's episode of Brave Troubadours, we're going to meet or get reacquainted with Reggie Harris, who's broadcasting from Philly, Chris Matthews from DC, and George Ensle, who hails from Texas. So we want to get them up for just a minute and wave to them all so you can see them. Hello, hello, hello. There's Reggie, Chris, George.
Good evening.
Hello, hello. So did we get, I know Esme's probably like, oh, there they are. Yay, everybody's here. Hello. So each of these artists is working to heal and to bridge the divides that our country is facing. And each one has a song and a story to share about how their work is making a difference. So that will be, I'm just really excited to get to talk to them and to connect with them, to share them with you. But before we get started, quick housekeeping. So this is really meant to be kind of an informal pop-up online community. We're going to kind of groove with each other and connect with each other all in an hour. Which is not an easy task, but we're going to try. First, I think most of you are muting, but you want to be sure you do that. We're going to give you opportunities to unmute, like when you clap. But for now, make sure you mute because that'll make sure your sound is the best. And then I know some of you are camera shy, and I see Stephanie Coffell on here, and she's the first one to say, I do not like to necessarily be on camera, but we encourage you to keep your camera on if you possibly can. Stephanie reminded us that one of the reasons we love gathering in Zoom is because the artist can see you, right? And hi to Facebook folks, it's a little harder. But the artists feel so inspired, right? When they can see your faces and your reactions. So if you're able to do it for the artists. So, and then thanks again for observing the mute, but you can unmute for applause, which we hope you'll do. And finally, we're going to be asking for your questions in the chat. So I've been saying Randy a lot here, and I just want to, let's give Randy a sort of a wave. Hello, Randy. She's going to be our chat maven this evening, and she's also our social media whiz. So she is going to be taking your questions and managing the chat over there. And we'll get to as many questions as we can during our roundtable section. And also behind the curtain, kind of, is Esme Cole, Music Life's operations manager. She's turned Zoom producer, so she's becoming an old hand at this. This is her second show, so hello. And she can address technical questions that arise. So, and then finally, throughout the show, you're going to have an opportunity to tip the artists, just like you would in a normal show. So we're going to encourage that in a normal, like, live show. So we're going to encourage that. And again, Randy's going to be dropping those links in. Okay, housekeeping done. Let's jump into the show. George, and we're going to head over to San Marcos, Texas with George. So hello, George. Hey.
Hi, Liz.
There he is. How are you?
I'm great.
You're looking great. You're
Good to be part
great.
of the community here.
Oh my gosh, so glad
Thank
to have
so
you here.
much.
It's just
You're
wonderful to
inviting
have
me.
you. Well, let me give you a quick intro. George is a country folk artist who's also the originator and songwriting director of Portrait Songs, which is a custom songwriting service designed to pay tribute and honor loved ones by giving them their own song. He teaches songwriting workshops on the creative process and the crafting aspect of songwriting in individual and group sessions. He's also a member of the Texas Arts Commission and the Touring Artists roster. He's celebrating 53 years as a performing songwriter, doesn't look a day over 20, and was recently honored by, he was recently inducted into the Houston Folk Music Archives at Rice University. So, and George, we're welcoming him to Brave Troubadours with the song from our Hope Rises album, but also the song that inspired this evening's theme of building bridges and bridging divides. So he's going to share Build a Bridge with us. Welcome again.
Thank you, Liz. The song was actually inspired by Mother Teresa, one of my heroes, who said every act of love is a work for peace. It's called Build a Bridge. Gonna take these hands, gonna reach them out to the ones who've fallen, gonna lift them up to a place where they can see how much they really look like me. Gonna build a bridge to the other side, cross deep water, the great divide. Oh, bridge of love, cross it today. Help my brothers and my sisters find a way. Gonna take these feet, walk their road by their side, carrying their load. I wanna feed the hungry, I wanna heal the hurt, I wanna save the children, I wanna do God's work. I wanna build a bridge to the other side, cross deep water and the great divide. Oh, bridge of love, cross it today. Help my brothers and my sisters find a way. I'm gonna take this voice, sing about bringing all those walls down to the ground, and then when they're laying on their side, they'll make a bridge between all our lives. We cross over those borders that separate mankind. We'll know peace when we show mercy. Don't you think it's time to build a bridge to the other side? Cross deep water, the great divide. Oh, bridge of love, cross it today. Help our brothers and our sisters find their way. A bridge of hope, cross it today. Help our brothers and our sisters find the way. Find the way. One true way.
All right, unmute for the applause.
Woo!
Good work, George. Oh man, thank
All right,
you so
George.
much.
George.
Oh,
Beautiful.
appreciate it.
Lovely.
Appreciate it.
Just
Appreciate it.
lovely.
Ah, all right. Well, George, and you know, it was actually one of our board members who heard you on Hope Rises and said, you know, build a bridge. That's a good theme for a Brave Troubadours. So, and then, you know, who knew that our timing here in the second week of January after last week would just be so critical. So I just really appreciate your being here. Appreciate your sharing the song. And so tell us a little bit about your inspiration. I mean, we've got bridge builders on this show this evening, and I guess I wonder about your influences around sort of being a bridge with your music, if you want to share that with us.
Well, I try to reach out to the part of the community that's unserved in some ways. I work with soldier songs for veterans. I work with some folks in the disability community, and I work with folks in hospice. I do concerts in hospice through Swan Songs, which is a foundation that was started by Christine Albert in Austin, Texas. And we actually partnered whereby my portrait songs that I write custom songs for people, she had me partner with her with Swan Songs so that I'm writing songs for people that are in hospice, their own song, and giving them their own song. So that's been a very rewarding experience. And my philosophy is that musicians are really the healers in any given society. They should be. That's should be what their calling is and their role. So after as many years as I've been performing and writing and seeing the results of what songs do to people and for people, I'm really convinced that if we're not in it with a servant's heart doing our performing and our writing, that we're really doing a disservice to the community. That we should be serving the community, and we should be healing the community. So that's kind of my philosophy, and I enjoy doing house concerts. You know, the intimacy of the house concert. I'll never forget. I was playing a house concert, small house concert in Albuquerque, and during the break at the CD table, I had the greatest compliment that was ever paid to me as a musician and songwriter. She said, "You know, what you do is important." And that really hit home and really blew me away, you know, to think in those terms. So my advice to anyone out there who's going to be performing or writing songs is to have a servant's heart and to know what you're doing is important.
I wonder if I'm not even sure how to put this. I guess sort of after the tumult of last week, and being of service to the healing that needs to happen in this country. I just wonder if do you rethink your vision for sort of how you want to be in the world over the next few months? Does that, are there projects you're heading into where that you've now changed because of this new impetus to be a healer, to be a unifier? What's going on for you right now?
Well, I've been blessed with the opportunity to play a lot of churches here in Texas. The churches are still open, and I actually play some cowboy churches, which is sort of a come as you are church without walls, and a very open sort of environment there. And so there's people of all ages that come to those services, and so that particular song, for example, one of the preachers that I play for, he kind of says it's his favorite song, and there's a disabled community. Well, I guess they're considered adults with special abilities. A wonderful group of folks called the Austin Adventurers that have adopted that song as their theme song. But it's a pretty simple concept, and as far as my writing having changed, I think this whole lockdown and pandemic and introspection that I've been going through has brought my spiritual life into focus a lot more, and I'm a lot more dependent upon the Lord, and I think that personally, that what I'm seeing in politics in this country, the biggest flaw is the lack of a moral compass on either side. That's my take on it. Because violence begets violence. And if you look at the great healers, the Gandhis and Mother Teresa and Martin Luther King, it was always peaceful. All their work was done in a peaceful fashion. So that's the way I try to pursue what I'm doing.
May you continue to be a beacon of peace, George. I love that notion of a cowboy church, man. That is, I can just see it, and I can see you in it. I can really see you in it. Wow. Whew. All right. Well, thank you. Another round of applause for you. We're going to come back to you in a little bit. Thank you. And so keep in mind that we're also going to have a chance for audience questions. So be thinking about that, and share those, any that you might have with Randy. We're going to head eastward now across the country and check in with Reggie Harris, who is in Philadelphia these days, though he hails from Middleburg, New York. Hello, Reggie. How are you?
Liz.
Reggie is, I'm good. Reggie, you're looking dashing this evening, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. This is one of my favorite shirts. I wear it on special occasions, so tonight is a special occasion.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And Reggie is also on our advisory board at Music to Life. We really appreciate that. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce you, and then you can move into the song that you're going to share this evening. So Reggie, and I really appreciate this bio you have on your site here, Reggie, because it talks about you committed to music as a community building vehicle, and that your music shares insightful perspectives on issues of life, history, education, and human rights. And in the spirit of your mentors, Pete Seeger, Dr. Bernice Johnson Reagan, founder of Sweet Honey in the Rock, Reggie is a master song leader who loves to help people discover that they can make a difference at any age and wherever they may live. And I'm guessing that's geographically or spiritually.
That would be true.
So Reggie is going to share his song Hickory Hill with us tonight. And there's a little bit of a background to that, which we'll get to, but take it away.
Thank you, Liz. I really enjoyed hearing George talking about the communities that he reaches out to. And so much of what we do as artists, of course, is about connecting people. Songs as connectors. And I grew up in a community in Philadelphia here that was about song. You know, the church I went to, the Nazarene Baptist Church at Nice and Lycoming Street. I always say it that way because that's how they taught us to say it when I was a young kid. They said, say the name of your church like you're proud of it and tell people where it is in case they want to drop by. There was a lot of song in that church. And I think that's where I first talk about bridge building. That's where I first began to think about myself as a bridge builder. And in my early years with Philadelphia beginning to integrate its public schools, I was one of the kids who had an opportunity to go across town. Somebody in my elementary school told my mother that it was okay to send me across town to this other school. They said it was a better school. That meant white kids went there. And so I landed in a schoolyard with all those kids. And I instantly began making friends. And that was something I just felt just sort of called to do, even as a child. So it led me to being able to really sort of navigate the racial divide very early on. And I'm not going to say it was easy. But I just felt a real calling to opening myself up to people regardless of what they looked like or who they were. And years later, of course, I find out that I have this connection, which is not a singular connection that I have, but I found out in 1992 that my family started on a plantation in Virginia, Ashland, Virginia, called Hickory Hill. One of my cousins did our genealogy. And not only did my family begin on that plantation, but my family began because the master, Williams Carter Wickham, a man who, with his wife, owned 250 some slaves, or people in slavery, I should say. He had 6 children by one of those people in slavery, a woman named Bib Anna. Bib Anna is my great-great-great-grandmother. Williams Carter Wickham is my great-great-great-grandfather. And I found that out in 1992. And I carried that around in my head and my heart for a few years, actually until 2010. That information was very important to me because most African Americans at that point had no idea where exactly they came from. But we knew that we started on that piece of land in Ashland, Virginia, Hickory Hill. And it was in 2010 that I was teaching at a music camp, the Swannanoa Gathering in Black Mountain, actually Swannanoa, North Carolina. And I was teaching on a Wednesday afternoon, and I just decided to share with my class the fact that I had this connection to the Wickhams. And one of my classmates was the person who connected me to that family. She'd grown up with a girl named Lisa Wickham, and she put us together. The story is a long story that, of course, we don't have time for tonight, but I will tell you this. About 2 years after that, I made my way to Ashland with Lisa. We had dinner the night before, and she offered to take me to the property, which was no longer in the family. And that day, we drove back into the country and back to that property, and we hopped over a small fence. And Lisa and I, having just really laid eyes on each other for the first time the night before, took a walk on that 3,000 acres of land where both of our sides of the family had come, the Wickhams and the Hewletts. And I will tell you, it was the most astonishing day as we found ourselves standing on the porch of the house there. And we walked around for about an hour and a half experiencing Hickory Hill. Barren fields to the horizon, ghosts of autumn catch the wind. Memories of those saints and sinners gather round to haunt us once again. Now we are finally together, standing silent face to face. Secret family undercover, born of shame, saved by hope and grace. Hickory Hill, we're on hallowed ground, walking side by side, wondering what we found. Hearts break open wide across the great divide. I can see the questions in your eyes now that we are home again. They celebrate the grand illusion, and they write it up for all to see. But in that mystery of confusion, there lies a truth that might one day set us free. So now our stories come together across these fields of broken dreams, and the blood that binds us all together is indeed much thicker than it seems. Oh, Hickory Hill, we're on hallowed ground, walking side by side, wondering what we found. Hearts break open wide across the great divide. Can you see the questions in my eyes? Oh, Hickory Hill, we're on solid ground, standing side by side, wondering what we found. Hearts break open wide across the great divide. Can you hear those demons as they die, now that we are home again?
Oh man, that's beautiful.
All right.
Fantastic.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Woo.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
My
Reg.
goodness.
I've
Oof.
heard you sing that before. You know, I heard that in a concert, but never with such power. It was beautiful.
Thank you, George.
Thank you so much. Wow, Reggie. Thank you. I and I remember sitting there, I was sitting at Folk Alliance when you were in Montreal, first hearing that story. And I'm just curious of the ripple effects you've seen from, I mean, this is a divide. I mean, holy cow. I mean, like, I just don't, so, because my sense is that didn't you turn this into some kind of show? I mean, didn't you sort of take this on the road and really start to use it as a tool for, yeah.
I've been doing a performance for about 5 years with my friend Greg Greenway.
Yes, right.
Who's a powerful songwriter. Greg and I have been friends for over 30 years, and we've always had conversations about history and race. Our friendship has been a safe place. He's a white songwriter who comes from Richmond, Virginia. As he says, he was born in the cradle of the Confederacy, grew up seeing the divide and seeing the hatred and not understanding why. And music really brought him alive. He talks about hearing Richie Havens and Eric Anderson, and their songs brought a truth into his life that he didn't know from his surroundings. So the two of us decided 5 years ago to take a trip to the Whitney Museum in Louisiana. And on the way, 23-hour drive, we talked about what we might do as friends in this divided time. So for 5 years, we've been using that song and some of his songs to talk to audiences and tell the narrative of our stories to friends who grew up in very different worlds in one country, or maybe it's one country. Um, and then we encourage people to tell their own stories, to have conversations with their friends, their family, uh, with the idea that we not only tell our stories, but we listen to the stories of others, which I think is one of the things that is sadly lacking in and you know this divide that we have. Obviously, it's been part of our nation since the founding of our nation. So it's really about acknowledging the past. I think we have in front of us a Sankofa moment, an opportunity to look back and acknowledge our past and to face it. And so that's the show. We're trying to encourage people to face. And most Americans don't really know the stories. They don't know what our history is. So for many people, it really comes as a shock to know that this wasn't just some experiment in freedom. The the divisions that are part of us that are being revealed in this time have really been all there all along. It's just the light is now being shown on them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, gosh. All right. Well, thank you so much. I do want to find out about your work. Just for everybody's benefit here, we are, and excuse me as the moderator, for those that know me, I am typically a type A, like move everybody along at a quick, swift pace, but I am getting caught up in the story. So we may be running a little over. I'm just giving everybody a heads up right now, because this is important stuff. And I'm really appreciating this exchange, because I do want to find out too, Reggie, from you, sort of as you look forward, in this year, is there anything, this project or otherwise, that you just go, yes, that's where I need to be, with like my music and my social change? Like, what's pulling you?
Well, what's pulling me is the same thing that's pulling me for my entire life. I've had amazing mentors and angels and motivators who've come in to help me open the next door, climb through the next window. And I'm just happy to say that in meeting people like Rosa Parks and meeting people like C.T. Vivian, but also just the people in my life have provided an opportunity for me to see where my music could fit. And so I feel in many ways kind of uniquely prepared to plunge into this time, because all of these years, and with a lot of friends, as I mentioned, Greg Greenlee, but there's so many other people that I mean, we know a lot of them. Your dad is one of them. Um, I've just had so many amazing influences that encouraged me to keep digging deeper into using music to open. I do a lot of stuff in schools about music and history, and so really, I'm kind of looking at this as, oh, this is kind of my time. um,
Totally.
I'm excited, even as I am terrified by what we're facing. And what keeps me on the path is the music has always been there. From the spirituals on. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on, wade in the water. Those songs keep me grounded, because I know those folks went through stuff that was so much harder than anything I'm facing.
Mm, thank you. Thank you, Reggie. All right. Um, we will come back to more questions from folks, so please do be thinking of them. Just so great to have you with us. Really, really appreciate it. Really appreciate your sharing. And yeah, so we're going to circle back in a roundtable kind of format. So keep offering those questions to Randy. And while you're thinking, it's funny. Dad's participation in these actually was a mistake last time, kind of, in the sense that we had a planned video of Dad. Dad was just going to sit there and watch this. And then the video fails, as Esme know. Esme and I were just, the video's failing. And then Dad said, well, I'm here anyway, so why don't I just step in and just take over for the video? And so that now Dad has become a part of these shows. So hello, Dad.
Hello, daughter.
So, and you're welcome to do this in whatever kind of order you want, because maybe we're ready for some more music after hearing from Reggie. But I can't help but just lay the question on you, right? Sort of having lived your life through, and Reggie was hinting at this, through a variety of different moments of sort of chaos in our country, or reckoning in our country. I just wonder what you're thinking about in these times, and sort of where you find your bridge, your sort of healing moments and bridges and all of that. So I'm curious about that, but I also know you have a song to share. So however you want to take all that on.
Well, first of all, I have to acknowledge how moved I was by Reggie's song. I don't have that deep history of conflict that I grew up with. I was really pretty oblivious to racism, and not understanding how deeply embedded it was at the same time. When you grow up entitled, privileged, you just assume that everybody's got that same thing happening in them. And then little by little, I suppose really I have to lay honor at the feet of folk music. Because I was a rhythm and blues kid, borrowed heavily from the black community to do doo-wop when I was in high school. But I learned harmony there. And to come to the village and recognize slowly but surely that the lyric content of songs was just important as the groovy feel, and that I could be inspired, I could be and instructed simultaneously by music, changed my life. And it gave me a thirst for finding, on an authentic kind of level and a vulnerable kind of level, what it is that we have in common. What is that one concept that we can all agree with that doesn't carry a political overtone? And it's a lot higher than politics. And we have to be, as Reggie kind of suggested, we have to be reminded of it. And music does a great job of doing that. I was going to sing a song called The Winner, which is almost kind of divisive. It says there's one thing that brings us together and one thing that'll tear us apart. And you got to choose one or the other. There's not room for both in your heart. And as true as that is, I think it's less helpful somehow in this time in which we live than a song that says, one flame, many candles, one sky, many stars, one sea, many rivers, one love, and so many hearts. We live in the same house on different floors, and I got my window and you got yours. We each got a door that leads to the hall, but the rooms are so cozy and the door is so small. One flame, many candles, one sky, many stars, one sea, many rivers, one love, yeah, and so many hearts. So mostly we sit by our windows and stare. Sometimes we wonder what's happening out there. Is there something I'm missing? Something I ought to see? Something bigger than life, something bigger than me. If you know the words, come on, sing. One flame, many candles, one sky, many stars, one sea, many rivers, one love, one love. Oh, come on, do it again. One flame, many candles, one sky, many stars, one sea, I love it, many rivers, one love. Oh, so many hearts. I'm reading a book I found on the shelf, a mystery that I've written myself. I'm in the last chapter. I'm not sure what's in store, but I'm betting it ends with a knock on the door. Here we go. One flame, many candles, one sky, many stars, one sea, many rivers, one love. Whoa. Last time, one flame, many candles, one sky, many stars, one sea, many rivers, one love, and so many hearts.
Yay!
Yeah.
Woo!
Love it.
Thanks.
One love.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So many hearts.
All right. You know, it's George was saying something as we were kind of rehearsing, just about how one of the bridges with songs is singing together.
Yeah.
That creates this incredible sense of community. And so I know our mouths were moving. We were all doing the polite Zoom thing and not unmuting because that would have been cacophonous. But that's going to be a wonderful thing about coming together.
That sure
eventually,
is.
is
Reg,
being
I
able to
can't
share
tell you,
voices.
man. I was watching you while I was singing. You were a smiling metronome.
There was no way I couldn't move.
That was beautiful, babe. Yeah, thank you. That was
Thank you.
lovely.
Oh, thanks for sharing, Dad. So we will come back to you in our roundtable Q&A, but let's head to DC. Oh man, kind of the belly of the beast. Chris Matthews, how you doing? How are you holding up? Hello. You are.
Interested to see how this next weekend's gonna go, but so far so good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. One foot in front of the other. Right. Well, let me give you a quick intro here. Chris, among the brightest stars of this new generation of social justice music makers, award-winning, prolific lyricist and composer, blending Americana, folk, blues, bluegrass, and funk into a bold, complex performance steeped in traditional melodies and punctuated by honest, original lyrics. She is made for these times. I love that. Lots of great folks praising her, saying things like, by wrapping honest emotions around her socially conscious messages and dynamically delivering them with a warm heart and a strong voice, Chris lifts our spirits just when we need it most in these troubled times. And her gift is a reminder of what beauty can occur when we bridge these divides. She's got a new hope-fueled, love-filled social justice album. Love all these you are an adjective woman, man. It's just so funny. Called Changemakers, scheduled for release next month. And tonight, I know you'll share a couple songs. Hopefully we'll have time for an encore. And but right now, you're going to share Hope Revolution with us, I think.
Yes, I definitely am.
All right.
Yeah. It's such a pleasure and an honor to be here with so many amazing social justice movers and shakers. The song that I'm going to share for you all is called Hope Revolution. And I wrote this song after this current election was officially called, when the majority of us got the memo, which was on November 20th. And as Liz said, I live in DC, and the the road, the trip to the White House is a trip that I've made many times. And on this particular day, it was something so incredibly moving about seeing so many American flags out that weren't out previously. And it just kind of hit me in a way that it was very unexpected. I've been very present for these 4 years and have been very painfully aware of the, I will say very kindly, opportunities that this past administration has had. And my country had not felt like itself. And on that particular day, it was as if so many people who also felt like I felt were in that moment seeing that there was hope at the end of the tunnel, that we were going to be okay. And I just want to say that despite the absolute atrocities of this past week, I am still so unapologetically hopeful for this nation of mine. So many people decided to take their seat at the table in this democracy of ours in this election. So many people who had never voted, ever voted for the first time. Georgia, as a daughter of the South, I'm originally from southeastern North Carolina, as a daughter of the South, to see Georgia be the state that decided what these next 4 years was going to look like, that cannot be drowned out by the madness and chaos of a loud few. That is a huge, hope-filled, beautiful thing. And it's that kind of feeling and sentiment that fueled this song. This is called Hope Revolution. I've seen so many flags flying high. Some were rainbow for pride, some were for saving black lives, and some were odes to the war long lost the last time hate tried to rise. But I haven't seen the red, white, and blue for a while. Yeah, I've seen so many flags flying high. Some were red, black, and green, celebrating Juneteenth. Some were signs of respect to the few proud and brave who keep us free. But I haven't seen the red, white, and blue lately. This country of mine hasn't felt much like itself. It's no wonder so many put Old Glory on the shelf, until the promise of her colors was back within our reach. And that star-spangled banner, she was lining every street. It was a hope revolution. We the people and the future of our choosing. It was a love revelation. Justice for all, indivisible, one nation. These 4 years didn't feel like the last. The worst parts of our past, it's like they brought them all back. Babies caged, borders closed, our democracy under attack. Never thought I'd see the red, white, and blue do that. Oh, this country of mine hasn't felt much like itself. It's no wonder so many put Old Glory on the shelf, until the promise of her colors was back within our reach. And that star-spangled banner, she was lining every street. It was a hope revolution. We the people and the future of our choosing. It was a love revelation. Justice for all, indivisible, one nation, one nation. Oh, those colors aren't just pretty, they're pretty much who we are. Perseverance and justice, vigilance and valor. That's why we were dancing, not marching, as those dark clouds scattered. There was glass everywhere from all the ceilings being shattered. It was the first time in a long time that it felt like it mattered what those colors stood for and who those colors were for. It was a hope revolution. We the people and the future of our choosing. It was a love revelation. Oh, justice for all, justice for all, indivisible. One nation, one nation. I've seen so many flags flying high. Hope the red, white, and blue stays a while.
Holy cow. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing, Chris.
Hey, thank you.
Terrific.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks very much, everybody.
All right, get our hands on that album, man. Holy cow.
Amazing.
That's
Thanks so much.
beautiful. You know, it's interesting, Chris. We have good friends in DC, and I remember where I was standing. It was that Saturday, right? And it was like right around 11:30, and my phone rings, and it's just FaceTime, and it's just my friend in DC just going like this with the phone on the street, because those DC streets were
Yes.
lit. They were lit up, and everybody had the flags, and the cars are going by, and it is like we couldn't even talk. They were just like, we can't really talk, just listen, just listen.
Yeah, it was incredible. It's like one of the only times in DC where you just hear people honking and you just knew it was just sheer joy. Like people weren't getting mad and getting attitudes. Everybody was like, yes, which never happens in DC.
Right. Well, and it's still a pandemic too,
Yeah.
right? So people are coming out of the buildings, they're like, oh, respect for okay, but I love you, you know,
Yeah,
it's like,
definitely.
okay, 6 feet, you know, oh my gosh, it was amazing. So
Yeah.
So I love that you're carrying this, that you're continuing to carry, right? This sort of hope and this joy in your heart. I guess I just can't, and I'm not trying to be kind of a gloom, and I'm
Not at all. I
in
am
this
also a
weird
realist.
spot. Well, we're all in this weird spot. So has last week now, I'll ask kind of a similar question I've asked to others. I mean, is last week now influencing, are you now going, whoa, okay, that's what this year is about? Or does it feel very, go ahead.
Honestly, no. I have to say, I live with another social justice songwriter, and so the day of the insurrection, it was actually a really interesting conversation between the two of us, because she is white, I am black, and so the reaction that she had to seeing that violence was a very different reaction than I had as somebody who is black and who has spent my entire existence in America. That level of violence was not a new phenomenon to me, and so I don't, for whatever reason, it just didn't strike me in that same way that it struck her. It was horrible, absolutely horrible. But I think because of the trauma that has been inflicted on black people and on people of color for hundreds of years in this country, it was just a very different reaction. And so I think that in essence, because I have been exposed to that for so long, and still, despite that, remained so hopeful, seeing that, then I am undaunted. My hope is 100% undaunted by the actions of those people, because the beauty of all of those things that I talked about before I sang that song, it is all 100% true. They don't take away those votes because they did what they did. They don't make Georgia any less of a reality because they did what they did. They don't make the fact that so many millions more people stood up and said yes to love and hope. They don't take that away because of what they did. And so for me, it is a horrible tragedy, but the goodness of what came before that day is unchanged by their actions in my eyes and in my heart. I am still so very hopeful for this country that I love so much.
Amen.
Amen, sister.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
You preach it.
Before we move on, and thanks everybody. We are taken a deep dive here and running over. So, but I just anything to keep our eye on. I mean, I know you got your album, and any
Yeah.
particular projects you're
Well, I
kinda,
have to say,
yeah.
I'm going to be doing a show actually with Reggie here in not too long. I'll let him kind of mention that to you all. But I am doing actually a special program on MLK. I do this program called Songs on Why We Can't Wait, which is a pairing of social justice songs of mine with excerpts from Dr. King's book, Why We Can't Wait. That's being presented by Gopherwood House Concerts out of Cadillac, Michigan. So if you're interested in getting a really strong dose of social justice music, still very love centered and hopeful, even though we talk about some very hard things, I hope you'll come join us for that. It's going to be a great event.
Excellent.
And
Do we
virtual,
have
so
a
you can do
link?
it from anywhere.
Yeah. Do we have a link, or do you have a date for, is that one of the
Um,
links you gave to
it's
Randy?
actually, if you will go to my Facebook page, which is where
Okay,
you can get most of the action. It's the
great.
big banner, so you can't miss it. So I
Okay,
hope some of you will come over and join us over there on Facebook too. So
awesome. That sounds great.
yeah,
Cool. Thank you, Chris,
my
again,
pleasure.
for being here.
Absolute
Oh,
honor to be here. Thank you all for having me.
really great. Excellent. All right, you guys. So because we got to have all these guys come back and do another song. So everybody just has to be a little patient while we keep moving on here. But I wonder about questions, and I know Randy's been collecting and collecting, and I'm not sure where she's landed at this point. But do we want to let's bring everybody on screen. We'll have a little round table with our artists and with Dad, and Randy's going to offer these questions to everybody. Do we have, let's see, Esme, we've been able to, yeah, here we go. Esme's going to make sure we have everybody in the screen so everybody can be seen. And is there, so how you feeling, Randy? We've got one or two that we want to just kind of put out there.
We do, and I'll go ahead and ask. So this question came from Barbara Snyder, and she really shared a bunch of thoughts with me, and I kind of formed this question because I think this is probably something that a lot of us are wondering. But how do you stay bridgers and builders when you're so exhausted and bewildered? Like in these times of a pandemic, there's so much obvious injustice going on, and now, outright violent politics. So how do you cope, and how do you stay committed to what you do and your social change music?
Well, I'll jump into the silence.
There you go, Reggie. All right.
That is a very big, it's a very big question. You see so much emotional devastation, and it does. It wears on the spirit. It. I think I'll just tag into what Chris said earlier. For me, it's coming up in a community and in interacting with communities of color that have been dealing with this for hundreds of years. So I remember sitting with some of the the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee members, Cordell Reagan and Hollis Watkins and Betty Mae Fikes, and we were doing an album project together, and we were asking them, this is years ago, and we were asking them about their work, and and they said, they didn't pay enough attention to their self-care, when they were working. And they said, and I've heard this from other activists as well, that we get so caught up in what we're doing and in taking things on. So in listening to that, I often talk with other activists and people about the fact that we really need to pay attention to when we need to back off. And the other thing we need to pay attention to is we're not doing this all by ourselves. We are part of a fabric, a community that has been at this for a long time. The reason they sang "Keep Your Eyes on the Prize, Hold On," and ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, but also, all those songs were reminding us that we're doing our part, not the whole thing. So, it's very important on some days to check out and watch a movie, or to watch the ball game. I'll put basketball on and get absorbed. And then to, just check in with friends. I had two meltdowns, during, June and August, when I just realized I was at my limit. And I called up a couple of friends and I said, I'm done. And they said, fine, take some time. We got you back. So
Yeah, I'll just add on
Always
to
want to,
that and
yeah.
say probably some of the best advice I've heard about that exact thing of self care, kind of the big picture self care, especially for those of us who are in the social justice struggle, is you have to think of this not as a sprint, not as a marathon, but as a relay race. And so it is not up to any one of us to change this world by ourselves. We do what we can for as long as we can, and we pass that baton on to somebody else and let them run for a little while we are recuperating and recovering so that we still have that light to give. Yeah, that's some of the best advice I think I've heard.
That's great.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to add to that? Any other thoughts, George or Dad? Or we've got other questions in the queue, so I'm happy to move on. But
Well,
anybody want to?
I feel like when well, ultimately that the Lord is in charge, and that I do what I can, but I do it with as much inspiration and try to stay as healthy as I can and as connected as I can with God. And so I think my faith is, well, I know my faith has given me a lot of strength to get through, especially not having any opportunities to play for people. I mean, the solitude itself during the lockdown. As I told you earlier, I got a little bit deeper into my writing and into my spiritual side and searching for that peace. And the Lord has shown me through my work and through the peace of mind that I get that He's in charge.
We do have another. Yeah, Dad, did you want to add anything, Dad? Or we?
I
There's
would
just
just
so
be
much.
reiterating the chorus
Yeah,
of the song that I sang.
yeah,
It's one love and so many hearts.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. Um, so we've got time for one more question. I know Randy, this is a question Randy and I have been really interested in, so I want to give her an opportunity to ask this. And then what we'll do, everybody, is we're going to move on to encores. We'll do a little more housekeeping, but we'll move on to encores and get y'all on your way, hopefully by no later than 9:30. So thanks for giving us a little extra time. Okay, go ahead, Randy.
Thanks, Liz. Yeah, this is a really good question. I think that a lot of us would probably be wondering this, but how do you bridge divides or build a bridge with people who just think differently from you?
well, one of the great I over the course of years I realized that it takes skill to do that. And we're not born with those skills necessarily. Some people are natural connectors. But after several years of frustration years ago, I decided to try to get some skills. So I took some training, and I've done that from time to time. The first one I did was with the National Coalition Building Institute, anti-racism training. And at the time, I thought I was going to sort of launch into this and become an anti-racism trainer. I realized that the passion that I have is with music. But I learned so much from doing that training. I learned a lot of what I learned was really about myself and about my own woundedness. We are all wounded healers when we are really on our game. But those trainings show me that first of all, we have to deal with knowing who we are and knowing what we have encountered. Chris mentioned, just years and years and years of oppression and just devastating, micro and macro aggressions. It just wears you down. But one of the more powerful things that they said, and music is so key in this. Sherry Brown, who was the trainer that I was fortunate to interact with, and she said, we're not training you to go out and change people, because we always want to, we think that we're going to change people's minds and we're going to do all this stuff. She said, we are training you so that you can be quiet enough in yourself and solid enough in who you are that you can create atmospheres in which people can hear stories that might possibly open their hearts and minds. And there's nothing like music to create atmospheres of story transformation. And they said, at some point, the hardest person, the most hateful, committed racist has a relationship with somebody who at some point might be the change agent. And you might be that change agent, but something you say to someone today may not register with them for 10 years. But the fact that you said it or sang it is important to plant the seed. So that's what I'm trying to do most of the time. I'm trying not to overstep. I'm trying to do the songs I believe in. I'm trying to live quietly, not always so quiet, but just trying to live with the idea that my life and my music and my songs speak much louder than me going like this.
So well said, Reggie. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
What strikes me is that this country was what made this country great, and the foundation of the country was we were a country that came together who could agree to disagree. That's how we started. And now we're so polarized, that we don't give the other person or the other party or the other ideology, a chance to be. But we started out agreeing to disagree, and I think that's what makes our democracy, or democratic republic, whatever you want to call it, unique and great, is that we do honor the other person's opinion. What was it? I'll defend to the death your right to say it, even though I don't agree with what you say.
Patrick Henry.
That's my take on it.
Yeah.
That's what we've lost. Third party, at least another party. Maybe 5 more.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for taking a moment with that question. Did you have anything, Dad? You looked poised.
No, I'm just agreeing. Okay. I'm agreeing with everyone. I could say amen all the time. We just move it along.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. And there is a group, so that everybody, and folks might know this already, but there is a group called Braver Angels that is specifically working to facilitate conversations between people who are different and who have different beliefs and ideologies. And it is not to convince each other of the other's side. It is to bring them together in a humane, sort of kind way, so that they can understand their stories, where they're coming from, and all of that. And I didn't give Randy that link, but I'm pretty sure they're a .org, so it's Braver Angels, and I know they have thought about them, Reggie, because you talked about the training. They have trainings on sort of civil discussion, like sort of how to have those kinds of conversations. And so
I think the really amazing thing that happens with the Braver Angels organization is that people discover it's their attitudes that are keeping them apart. It's not the facts. The facts they can grapple with, they can divide, they can learn to make peace with one way of living or another, or allow the other person to. But you have to leave your attitude at the door. You have to come in transparently and authentically and caring. And that is the lesson that Braver Angels teaches, and that is the lesson that we've got to learn as Americans again, like George said.
All right.
Okay. Let's hear some music.
Let's hear some more music. My goodness. I do want to do that. And it's so funny. I had a fun little poll, but maybe we'll do that in between music. Let's do some music at the moment, and then we'll get back into, because what we're doing with these Brave Troubadours sessions, everybody, is we will move forward this year with all kinds of different themes, and we're really curious from all of you sort of what you would like to hear more of. what are the issues you really care about, and how would you like to learn more about how music is affecting those issues. So we have a quick little Zoom poll, but for now, let's head into some music. Hey, George, do you want to give us another song? And you were, by the way, looking a little like your vocals were a little out of sync with your Zoom. I wonder if that's still happening. Just for your sound guy to know. Can you?
Well,
Yeah,
this is
your
we haven't
sound's
had
a
a
little.
song in a while.
I don't know if Randy's able to do anything about it at this stage, but you've got a lapse. You've got a little lapse between your voice and the camera. So it could just be a non-fixable, which is okay. We can fix it in the end, but just as long as folks are aware that your mouth may move in a different sequence than
yeah, it's not really George Ensle. No, it's he's being puppeted by Reggie.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, Reggie.
I see. That's what was happening all along. Okay, got it. Anyway, so just warning people that might be what happened. Give us the song. Lay it on us.
Well, all right. So this was inspired by that old English proverb, and it's all about the power of one. For want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, the horse was lost. For want of a horse, the battle was lost. For want of a battle, the war was lost. Stitch in time can save the day. Sometimes a thread is all it takes. Ah, it's like a pebble in a pool. Save it all with the smallest tool. For want of a drink, a poor child cries. For want of a coat, an old man dies. Save the world one child at a time. Save one man and you save mankind. A stitch in time can show the way. Sometimes the thread is all it takes. Ah, the devil's in the details, but God is too. All for the want of a nail for a shoe. It's a widow's mite, it's a rosary bead, it's faith as small as a mustard seed. It's one kind word at you and me, changing the course of history. It's a golden rule when it's said and done. Yeah, it all comes down to number one. Well, it's one heart, one step, one mind, and one pair of hands. So in that stitch in time, for want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, the horse was lost. For want of a horse, the battle was lost. For want of a battle, the war was lost. For want of a nail, the war was lost.
Thank you, George. Really appreciate it. Thanks for being here with us. Just a quick reminder that Music to Life is a nonprofit organization and dedicated to helping musicians become change agents in their community. So if the spirit moves you, we welcome your contributions. We welcome volunteers. We welcome your involvement. So You can also share feedback for us as we develop these Brave Troubadours sessions, and follow us on social media. I think Randy's going to drop some chats, drop some links in there in the chat. And our next Brave Troubadours is coming up on February 18th. So we'll have more. If you're on our mailing list, you will get more information about that, which we'd love to tell you about. And then please keep in touch with all these artists. I think Randy's been dropping in the tip jar, and you know, there's Hope Rises, which is an album that you can you know, secure for yourselves and keep hearing hopeful music in the future. So with that said, let's head back to Reggie. Sort of like, who's next? Let's go to Reggie. I think you have another song to share with us, which we would love to hear.
I do, and this is the first song that I wrote in the pandemic. It was a song that rose up out of me somewhere around March of last year, and it will turn out to be the title song for my next CD, which will be coming out this March. And it's called On Solid Ground. We will not rest till the storm is over. We will not lay this burden down. We will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on till we stand all together on solid ground. We will not rest till the storm is over. We will not lay this burden down. We will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on till we stand all together on solid ground. We will not rest till the storm is over. We will not lay this burden down. We will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on till we stand all together on solid ground. It's been a long, hard journey on a winding road. So many have gone before us. They carried a heavy load, but they went there singing as they made their way. Now it's in their footsteps we follow as we work today. We will not rest till the storm is over. Hey, we will not lay this burden down. Well, we will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on till we stand all together on solid ground. I know that you're weary. We all feel the pain. Sometimes the actions of the world will try your soul again, but I believe there's a better day, and it's coming our way. That's why we're raising our voices as we work today. We will not rest till the storm is over. Hey, we will not lay this burden down. Well, we will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on till we stand all together. Solid ground. All around us there's hatred. All around us there's fear. Violence touches our lives, and the message is clear. We mourn our martyrs. In our hearts they'll stay. Then we'll sing, we shall overcome, and go on our way. We will not rest till the storm is over. Hey, we will not lay this burden down. We will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on till we stand all together on solid ground. Till we stand all together on solid ground. Till we stand all together on solid ground.
Yay.
All right, who was harmonizing there with him? Go on, I saw that.
Yeah.
All right,
Hear
that
from
was
here.
fantastic.
Yes,
Oh my gosh, I just see the harmonies there. I can just see it. Holy cow, that was fantastic. Thank you so much. Woo! Excellent, excellent. All right. Randy's got those socials. She's continuing to put them in the chat. We just want to keep in touch with everybody. This is great. And feel free to use that tip jar. These are just amazing artists doing great work in the world. It's wonderful to be in your company. So excellent. Moving on. Chris, you got one more for us? I think you
Yes, I
probably
think
do.
I'm gonna
Yes.
keep it in the theme of bridging, and I don't think there are many humans on the planet who did that any better than John Lewis. Um, this song is for him. This is called "Call Them In," and I think as those of us who do this work continue to do that work, that notion of calling them out, calling out injustice, but then taking that next step and then calling them in, inviting them in, is the important second step. So that's what this song is about. The battle lines are drawn, and once again, somebody saying, wait, be patient. If they knew how long it would be before all people could truly hear freedom ring, I wonder which end of that moral arc would they choose. I wonder if more would have walked in his shoes. This is what revolution looks like. You gotta get in, then stay in this fight. You've got to find a way to get in the way. Speak up, speak out every day. Freedom riders or letter writers, do what you can, just shine your light brighter. Somebody called him a saint among men, a founding father, an icon, a legend. Ordinary people with such extraordinary vision in a country so young, hard pressed on every single side but not crushed, saying in God, love and justice we trust. This is what revolution looks like. You gotta get in, then stay in this fight. You've got to find a way to get in the way. Speak up, speak out every day. Freedom riders or letter writers, do what you can, just shine your light brighter. Make a trouble every chance you get. Eyes on the prize, we're not finished yet. Don't tolerate injustice, my friends. Call them out, but then call them in. If you see something that's not right, not fair, stand up and say we can do better. He said, I may not be with you when we reach the other side, so let the power of love everlasting be your guide. 'Cause this is what revolution looks like. You gotta get in, then stay in this fight. This is what revolution looks like. Get in, then stay in this fight. You've got to find a way to get in the way. Speak up, speak out every day. Freedom riders or letter writers, do what you can, just shine your light brighter. Make a trouble every chance you get. Eyes on the prize, we're not finished yet. Don't tolerate injustice, my friends. Call them out, but then call them in, call them in. Find a way to get in the way. Speak up, speak out every day. Make a trouble every chance you get. Make a trouble every chance you get. Make a trouble every chance you get. Yeah, keep fighting the good fight.
Amazing. Oh my
Thank
goodness.
you all.
That's a John
Thank you,
Lewis.
thank you.
Thanks so
Good
much.
trouble. Good trouble.
Good trouble, man. Good trouble.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I have a parting quote actually from Joe Biden, but I want that I went, he was doing his inaugural thing, and I went and I scribbled it down because I'm like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. So I didn't know, Dad, if you had something quick to leave us with, or you or your dog.
No, this is
You were
this is a
looking.
younger person's night.
Well, yeah, that was really powerful. And you think she's powerful in a Zoom? Just go see her in person, you guys. Holy cow! You just out of your seats. That when I saw her, we could barely keep in our seats. So yeah, so here's what Joe Biden said as his inaugural, and I thought about this very session when he said this. He said, "Together, we'll lift our voices in the coming months and years, and our song shall be of lives saved, breaches repaired, and a nation made whole again."
Right.
Right? Yeah. So keep the faith, everybody. Keep the faith.
Amen to that.
Yeah. Amen to that. So keep the faith, be kind. Thank you all for joining us. Yeah.
Thank you,
Really
Liz.
grateful.
Thank you, Liz.
All right.
Thank you, Liz.
Everybody, stay safe out there.
All right, you guys. Be well. Be well.
Thank y'all.
Great to have you here. Yay. Yay.
So long, y'all.
Take care.
Esme, you can play us some more Hope Rises if you want while people are leaving, maybe. Maybe the cover with the you have your music cued for the yeah, there you go. What have we got behind that? Tayo, maybe? Can't remember.
Play Ruffalo's the smallest act.
Oh, smallest act. Do you have that handy? Now you're really testing Esme's production skills
Come
here,
on,
Dad.
Esme, be the DJ. Be the DJ. That's
no,
okay.
not that one. Oh, that's okay. That's Buffalo Rose.
When I'm free, I won't be scared.
Not a good one.
When I'm free, I won't be
Congratulations,
scared.
Liz. This is a good one.
There'll be
Thank you,
birds
man.
and trees and
Good, everybody.
Thank you,
night.
guys.
They'll
Yeah.
hold hands most everywhere. There'll be no fear there. When we're free,
All right, so Ed, you have to tell me when we
we're
stop
all
recording
born and we all
on Facebook.
die. We
Do we just keep going?
love if we try. Don't know much.
Wow, I stopped at 9:30. I got us done at 9:30. That's what I said. All right. So great to have everybody here.
So are you.
Thank you, Esme. Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Liz. That was awesome. Sounded really well. So happy to be a part of it.
Really glad to have you guys here.
It don't matter where you're from.
Good job, Liz.
Who you are.
Thanks, everybody. Really good to see you all.
In the end, it's all the same. The sun goes down, we change our names. It seems insane. Maybe. But time goes on and still we sing that same old